Hi, friends. Hello. How are we doing today? How is everybody? I doing pretty well. I feel like the warm weather and the sun that's been peeking through a little bit has been very good for me. I feel like I spent most of the winter just like laying in bed, and now I feel like I'm like resurfacing a little bit. I'm being productive just a little bit. I did a ton of laundry, so all my A-level clothes are back in the game. I did some writing, worked on my story a little bit. My writing group is meeting tomorrow, so I had to make sure I had something to send for them. And today I spent the morning painting these shoes. They have oranges on them. These were originally, I did both of them. Here, let's get the other. I'm so graceful. I have such a good filming setup that's definitely not just on my bed. But here's the other one. These were white canvas shoes that I've had for a few years now. And I bought them because my college had a May Day tradition where we celebrated May Day, and we all wore white for a day and we wore flower crowns. And I bought these shoes specifically for my senior year May Day, and it rained the entire day, which was very sad because May Day is a very outside thing. Literally everything is outside, and it's supposed to be like, oh, it's spring, it's nice out, let's, enjoy the weather. And it rained the entire time, but that didn't stop anyone from celebrating. And instead, we all just sacrificed our white clothes and everything got super, super, super muddy, including these shoes. And because they were white canvas, they stayed super muddy for the last 2 years, and I never wore them again. And I was sad because I really like the style of them. I like these like canvas boots, and I like how they have a nice thick sole. So today I was like, I could either put in the effort and try and bleach them and scrub them and have white shoes that are going to get dirty again, or I could bust out my paints and paint them. So that's what I did. I am not used to painting things like shoes. I actually don't paint much in general. I tend to draw. But I think I didn't do too bad of a job. They have oranges and orange leaves on them. They are painted with acrylic paint, and I ordered a sealant, so I gotta wait for the sealant to come in before I can wear them. But fortunately they are canvas, so the paint took to them very easily, and they're still quite bendy without the paint cracking, which is very nice. It would have been a bit harder if it were like leather or something. But I think these are going to be very fun to wear for the spring, and obviously I will not be wearing them to work. I don't want to risk that, but just like walking around with my friends. Once I seal them up, I think they'll be nice to wear. So yeah, just thought I'd show you guys those. I'm gonna put them away before they touch my bed because, as you can see, the soles are disgusting. And I don't want them touching my sheets. They're on a little table right now, on a little lap desk. But yeah, just thought I'd show that off. I really want to create more. I have taken a break from certain things that were causing me to just lay in bed and eat food all night. It's getting a little unhealthy. So while I'm taking a break, I feel like I should use the time and the energy to be creative and get in the habit of being creative, because I feel like I definitely got out of the habit of being creative. Making these videos definitely got me in a little bit, but it's definitely not the type of creation that I usually do. So I'm just happy to be making art again, no matter how good it is. I think that making art is very important for the soul and for just your general psyche, and I definitely got out of the habit for a bit, and my goal for the next few weeks is to get back in the habit. Yeah. I also did, I'm kind of embarrassed to show this one. I did this drawing recently. I don't think I've shown this one in a video. It's definitely not perfect proportions wise. I tend to just draw faces, so I was like, was like, let's try to draw some hands. Let's try and draw in a different expression. I picked this one because I was very annoyed with one of my coworkers. And I wanted to draw something to express that annoyance. There are definitely things that I wish I could change about it, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think the hands could have been done a lot better, and the wrists could have been done a lot better, and I don't think I would have made this dark green. I would have just made it this light green, like the rest of the drawing. But, you know, anything you create is good, even if you don't think it is technically good. It's good to make things. It's good to create things. It's good to use that part of your brain. I feel like I have been writing for so long. I remember when I was a little kid, I had one of those big, fat computers, those big fat Macs that were colored plastic. Mine was light blue, and it lived up in the room next to my dad's office. And it couldn't connect to the internet. I would play a Blue's Clues game on it. I would play another game that I can't remember on it. I think you made cakes with it. And I would write. I would pull up a Word document and I'd just type out a little story. I know I was in kindergarten at the time because I got in trouble for lying at school. It was a really ridiculous thing. My teacher wanted me to throw away a tissue I was fidgeting with, and I fake threw it away. And she got mad at me because she was like, that's a dirty tissue. And I'm like, it's not a dirty tissue, I was just playing with it. Because I was in kindergarten. And I fake threw it away, and she caught me and moved me to red, which means I didn't get a prize at the end of the week because I was on red that week. Because it was the stoplight, the green, yellow, red. Honestly, thinking back, I feel like it was a little harsh. I think the whole green, yellow, red stoplight thing is basically just public humiliation. And I don't think it's productive for little kids. But it was the early 2000s. She was a new teacher. I mean, honestly, looking back, she was probably 22. I really don't, I don't blame her. But for punishment for getting on red and lying to my teacher, I had my computer privileges taken away, so I couldn't use it. But anyway, on that computer, I would write stories, and the story I remember writing was called Iris's Tunnel. It's about a girl named Iris who found a tunnel in her backyard, and it connected to all her friends' houses, and that was pretty much the story. I remember I hand wrote it in school, and then I went and I typed it up at home, and it was 4 that was the first story I ever remember writing. And I continued to write after we got rid of that big cube Mac. We had a little netbook down in the kitchen. It was just like a little laptop. I swear it was like this big. And it was white. And I would sit at the kitchen hutch, which was not a desk. It was like a pantry that it was just like sitting on. And I would like stand there and write stories. I don't know why I never thought to like move it because it was a laptop. But I would write stories on it. And I really can't remember anything I wrote on that computer. But sadly, it died a very sudden death. And I lost everything on that computer. But when I was in 4th grade, I got my own laptop. It was a big, clunky, slow IBM ThinkPad with the little drag dot. And I did a lot of writing on that. I wrote this story that I actually do still have. I never finished it. And because I had access to the internet, I realized that I could look up names and words in different languages. And so my main character's name, I don't think I ever pronounced it correctly. Her name was Quies. Q-U-I-E-S. Q-U-I-E-S. I don't know what that means. Luna. L-U-N-A. Vir. V-I-R. That was her whole name. It was Quies Luna Vir. And again, I was in like 4th or 5th grade. I really can't express to you how much I don't know what I was thinking. And I don't remember much from that story, but I know that there was some magic involved, and there was a character named June, and she spoke in a very, like, she elongated all of her syllables, and I wrote that out. So, and I gave it to my mom to read, and she was like, you don't have to do that, you know. And hold on, and I didn't know that. Yeah, I'm actually really bad at sharing my writing. I'm very, very scared of someone telling me that it's bad, but I have written constantly for as long as I can remember, and I have written, I think, so at this point, I have finished, oh my god, I have finished four novel-length stories that are never gonna see the light of day. One I finished in 8th grade, and it was very poorly disguised supernatural fan fiction. I've never written explicit fan fiction, but like that was inspired for sure, you know. And then the next one was about this girl who was a runaway bride, and she ran away to revive her high school rock band called Lipstick Addict. And it was a long story. I worked on it for a long time. I drew art for it. And it was ridiculous. I think this one was probably 9th or 10th grade. And I was like very into my emo punk phase. And I was like, I can never imagine settling down as an adult, so I'm gonna write this. And I don't think anyone's ever read that one. And then there was one that I used to post on Wattpad. I posted a bunch on Wattpad, but there are like hundreds of stories that I've written throughout the years that I've never, ever finished. And that I've never finished. I write like 20, 30 pages and then I just run out of inspiration. But the third one was a like dystopian future story where society has been divided into two sections, the desired and the undesired. I called them screamers in the book, which is like, I don't know, it feels really horrible. And you had to take a test on your 18th birthday, and if you failed the test, like you had to take a test if you were desired, and if you failed the test, you didn't get to be desired anymore, and you had to go down to the underlayer. And basically, this girl who was desired ended up kind of going on these like nighttime escapades into the world of the undesired, and kind of has a realization that things are messed up, and so she fails the test on purpose and, you know, works to start a revolution. And unfortunately, that story ended up being super problematic because it was a, 14, 15-year-old white girl's interpretation of oppression. So yeah, that one's never seeing the light of day. It's actually quite embarrassing. And then the most recent one I finished was the one I worked on the longest. I actually started it my freshman year of high school and worked on it on and off, and finished it my senior year of college when I finally took a novel writing class. And this one, I do love it. It's my baby. I think maybe one day I'll be able to like edit it enough and fix it up enough that maybe people could read it. But it was basically about this girl who is like a recent college grad, and she can't find a job, and she is desperate, and she lands a job as a secretary for this mysterious agency. Turns out said agency works with aliens and like travels to other planets and kind of is trying to keep the peace in the galaxy. More happens than that. It's not that simple. there's kind of a enemies to lovers romance in it. And the people in the class really enjoyed the sections that they read. Nobody read the whole thing because, obviously, it's very long. And everyone else was like starting books and I was finishing them. They were starting their own books. I was finishing mine. But yeah, I was very happy to finish that one. Definitely still needs a lot of work, but it's done. And then I'm working on one right now that I've talked about before, about the dancer and the ghosts and her having to go back to her estranged father's house. And I think I might be able to finish this one. It's looking very possible. It's looking more possible than it's looked in a long time. So I'm very excited about that. I'm in a little bit of a slump with it, but I feel like I can muscle through. I'm meeting with my writing group tomorrow, so I'm gonna ask them some questions, and I think I'm gonna be able to finish it. That's very exciting because, like I said, I don't finish a lot of stuff. I've been writing for as long as I can remember, and I've only finished those 4. A lot of things just kind of sit in my Google Drive, unfinished, unread, but, that's okay. I consider a lot of my writing to be the writing version of doodling. I think doodling and sketching is very, very important for art, making art that is not meant to be seen, that is just meant for practice and honing your skills and making things feel approachable. And I think you should and can and should doodle with anything that you do. You can doodle dance in your room alone. You can doodle writing by writing out beginnings of stories and never finishing them. You can doodle really just about anything creative. And I think doodling is so important because creating is important and doodling takes the pressure off. It makes you less worried about creating something good, and it becomes more about just creating. I mean, the drawings that you do in your notebooks, in the margins when you're in school, you're not worried about creating some masterpiece. Maybe you're, hoping someone will look over your shoulder and be like, hey, that's really good. But they're not really being made to be seen. And maybe you're just drawing like an eyeball or some hearts or something, but at the end of the day, you're still making something, I walked into my car mechanic today, and he has this business that's just him, and it's this small little mechanic on the side of the street. It's not like some big chain or big dealership or big business. I trust him a lot. That's a tangent, but he's a cool dude. He was a good find. But I walked in today and tacked up on the bulletin board was just some silly little pen doodles that either him or his assistant did, and it was just so sweet to see because it was just some faces and small on-lined paper, clearly not meant for much of anything, But like to walk into a car mechanic and see a little bit of art, it's so lovely, it's so human. So definitely the biggest bit of advice I can give to anyone is just don't stop creating. Just don't, there's so many things that encourage us to stop. I think we live in a time where so much art is shared online and so many other things are shared online. You tend to sort of second guess your talents. You tend to second guess if it's even worth it to like do stuff creatively. Second guess if you can. But it's so important to just not let that get to you. It's so easy, and I do it too, to just go home and watch TV or watch YouTube or scroll on your phone. It's incredibly easy to do that, and it's an instant dopamine hit, and it's so hard to not do that. But I'm really trying to get back in the habit of creating, and I definitely think that if you aren't in it already, you should definitely get back into it, or get into it. I feel like there's so many people, because I draw a lot at work for my kid, because he's always asking me to draw him things, and there's so many people that are just like, oh, I can't draw at all, like, I can't believe you're just coming up with that out of your head. And it's like, this is a skill that I've worked on. Like, I draw a lot. I'm good at it to an extent. I'm no amazing artist, but I'm relatively good at drawing because I work on it. And yes, there are things that perhaps come easily to me that don't come easily to other people. I'm very good at drawing from my brain. I tend to not use references, which works well in the situation at work when he's asking me to draw a vacuum cleaner, draw a tomato plant, draw a beach ball, a slide, these very random assortments of things, draw a kitchen. And I'm able to just produce that from my brain. I'm very lucky. But there are things that I definitely struggle with. I really struggle with realism. As you can tell from this, I struggle with proportions and emotion and, expression, and I work on it. I try to get better at it, and you can do that too. You can work on stuff, and it's okay if you draw something and it sucks. That's totally fine, because at least you've drawn something. At least you've created something and put out into the world something that is not AI. It's not, created by a machine. It's created by a human being. And that is so important. And as AI becomes more and more pervasive, more widely used, I feel like I have a zero tolerance policy for AI on art accounts. If I've been following an artist for a while and then they post about using AI, that's an immediate unfollow. For other types of accounts, you have like 2-3 strikes, But I think creation by humans, creation of art, is being threatened, being challenged, and my college had a phrase that we would use during finals and for really anything, and it was done is good, done is good, done is good, done is good. And it would be like, if you're really stressing about an essay and you feel like it's really bad and you're not happy with it, but it's done and done is good, and you're stressing about your finals and you're worried that you're not going to get a good grade, but it's done and done is good. I think it came because a lot of us in general, but especially the demographic at my college, were people who grew up being perfectionists, and I think we all, done is good, really helped a lot of us unlearn perfectionism, and it's very freeing to be like, I hate it, I turned it in, done is good. And I feel like that can be applied to so many things with a very slight change. You know, you drew something, you hate it, done is good, though, you know, you did it, it's good. It's good that you did it. And I think that's something a lot of people should keep in mind. I remember telling my mom about done is good, and she, several months later, was like telling me about something she was really stressing about at work. She works at an art gallery, and she is such a perfectionist. She's the kind of person who like will work at something and just keep working at it until she deems it to be perfect. But she didn't have the time, and she was like, and I just thought, done is good. Done is good. So, I hope that as we wrap up this video and you go about your day, about your night, as you fade off to sleep, whatever you plan on doing, I hope that you can take something from this